What is it? Weight means what? Which weight? Whose weight?
Hardness causing salts weight.
Okay, suppose here you have magnesium bicarbonate, right? So how much is its weight here?
16.8.
How 16? 16.8. Yeah, okay, 16.8. Then how to substitute in that formula? 16.8 by molecular weight of magnesium bicarbonate. It is 146. So 16.8 by 146 into 100. How much you are getting is?
11.5.
11.5, ma'am.
Okay. Similarly, the same procedure you can follow for magnesium chloride and magnesium sulfate. Okay. So therefore, you for magnesium chloride and 24.66 for magnesium sulfate. And NaCl, it's there in the statement. I hope the screen is shared, right?
Ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the tabular column, you can see sodium chloride. It does not contribute any hardness to the water, so therefore it has to be ignored. Okay. Now calculate temporary hardness. How much you will be getting?
11.5 only, ma'am.
Yeah, 11.5 because here only one salt which is going to impart the temporary hardness. And remaining two salts you sum up and get the permanent hardness. Okay. Have you understood the problem, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
So such numericals you can expect in the exam, girls. Definitely, either the numerical can be from this area or from the EDTA titration. Okay. So definitely you will be given one numerical. Because we have less number of units where you can find the numericals. So wherever you have a scope of numericals, definitely you will be getting in the exam. Okay, so try to practice them. And another important thing is to convert these hardness causing salts. Okay, whatever the hardness units you are getting, try to again convert into degree French or in degree Clark. Even if it is not asked, you just try to practice it. Okay, so you have plenty problems. Later on, you can just try to solve it for yourself. Okay. So shall we move ahead with the next topic?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Today's topic is how you estimate the hardness of water by EDTA method. Okay. So before that, what exactly the EDTA stands for?
Ethylene diamine tetraestic acid, ma'am.
Okay. Ethylene diamine tetraestic acid. So by using EDTA method, you are going to find the hardness of a given water sample. I think on the other day when I was telling you about the introduction topic, that day I told you, like in the lab you have an experiment which is called as EDTA experiment. Okay, so where you can find the hardness of the given water sample. So that is what we are going to learn in today's class. So experimentally, how you can find out the hardness of a given water sample, and based on these values you can assess like the quality of water, whether this kind of water is fit for either drinking purpose or for domestic purpose or for usage in the boilers. So that assessment can be done only after knowing how much of the salts, how much of the hardness causing salts are present in the given water. Okay, like if you know, if I say borewell water, do you think the borewell water will contain the same amount of hardness, like if the water sample is collected from different areas and all these water samples are nothing but the borewell water? Do you think all these water samples which have been collected from different areas will they produce the same amount of hardness?
No, ma'am.
Why? Why? Why do you think the hardness will not be same?
Difference in concentration of magnesium and calcium salts, ma'am.
Okay, that all depends upon what? What is the factor which could be responsible for that? Groundwater composition, right? See, suppose if somebody is residing, Vatsalya, where do you reside?
Madhapur, ma'am.
Madhapur, okay. Sahiti, roll number 5, where do you reside, ma?
Shakepet, ma'am.
Yeah, Shakepet. Arshia, you are from which place?
Nalgonda, ma'am.
You are Nalgonda. Okay. Let us suppose that these three girls, we have collected the samples from these three areas. Okay. Do you think the groundwater composition would remain same? Even if these two girls, Sahiti and Vatsalya, even those two girls are from city, but still the water composition will be different. Okay, that depends from the area to area. So therefore, hardness of water samples, even if the water sample is borewell water from all the three samples, but still the hardness remains different. Okay. So as Arshia is from Nalgonda district, okay, I think you might be finding more amount of fluoride content in your area, ma.
Yes, ma'am. In
You
some
have still that
parts.
problem?
As of now, we don't have, ma'am. But
Okay.
in the past, yes, it was there.
Do you know the problems what the people would face when they have high fluoride content in their drinking water? I think you might have seen the people who are suffering from this fluorosis disease.
Yes, ma'am. Their bones will not be in a correct position.
Yeah. And teeth will become yellow, right? Okay. So their limbs will be bent limbs, and that will be carried for generations together. Okay, so that is actually very what we say, a very pinching situation. Okay, so I think now actually Nalgonda is actually famous for this fluorosis disease because there we find high content of the fluoride ions in it. Okay. Okay, so that's what, like, I want to tell you that the water sample will be having different kinds of hardness causing salts depending upon the groundwater composition. Okay, we'll now come to the topic. So this is the experiment which can be done in 4 steps. Okay, you have 4 steps for the experiment. Now, before actually going to the experiment, I want everybody to draw this structure in your books. Crystalline diamond tetraacetic acid. If I say tetraacetic acid, then how many acid groups must be there in the structure?
4, ma'am.
4.
4.
But on the screen you can see two acids and 2 acetates. Okay, so you can just replace that sodium with the hydrogen. First draw the structure, girls, all of you. Over, girls.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just write the reaction and show it to you. I'm using a pen tab. Is it shared, ma? Is the pen tab shared? No, no.
No, ma'am.
I think now it's shared, right? Okay, EDTA. I'm just drawing the structure here. Ethylene. This is your ethylene. Diamine. Tetraacetic acid. So here you are going to write CH2COOH. CH2COOH. This side also same. Here also CH2COOH. What is the denticity of this ligand? So EDTA is nothing but a ligand. Okay, this is going to form a complex with your metal. Now what is the metal here? What is the metal here? Your metal would be either a calcium ion or a magnesium ion, right? So now your ligand is going to bind with your calcium or magnesium ion. Okay. Am I fine, girls? Following?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, how many donor atoms, okay, do you find from this EDTA? Donor atoms. Ligand is nothing but what? It gives its shared pair of electron to the central metal ion. So your metal ion is your calcium or magnesium. Ligand is your EDTA. So how many donor atoms are there here? Yes?
2, ma'am.
No. Two are,
4, ma'am.
which are those two?
4, ma'am.
Which are those two? So you have two nitrogens, okay, with lone pair of electrons. Along with that, you also have 4 more donor atoms. That is nothing but your acetate ion. Like if I take an acetate ion, you have 4 oxygen atoms, O minus. Okay, so I'm underlining them. So here totally you have 6 donor atoms. So therefore, this is called as hexadentate. Hexadentate ligand. Hexa means what?
6.
Hexa means 6. Hexa means 6. Dentate means what? Donor atoms. Denticity, donation. Okay, how many atoms are being donating donating to the central metal ion? Okay, so either calcium or magnesium. Like just I'll draw a structure here, and this is called as this is something looking like a pincer claw-like structure. Chelate rings. The rings what you get are called as the chelate rings. So here the calcium or magnesium ion will be surrounded by all the 6 donor atoms. A pincer claw-like structure. So here you can just write your calcium or magnesium. Okay, so these are the 2 donor atoms. And then what do you have? You have CH2, C double bond O minus. This is 1. And you also have another CH2, C double bond O and O minus. So again, these are forming a bond like this. From here you have another oxygen coming. And then here you have CH2, C double bond O minus. This is again forming a bond like this. And then you have CH2, C double bond O minus. This is also forming a bond. So this is called as a chelate ring. This is something like why the name chelate has been given, because in Greek this is nothing but looking like it is actually called as pincer claw-like structure. Pincer is only W, girls. pincer claw-like structure. That means eagle, like suppose if you just imagine an eagle, okay, that is how it is holding its prey. Okay, so on different angles. So here also this is called as chelatring because of that appearance. So that is a pincer claw-like structure. How a eagle with the help of its claw, how it try to hold its prey. That is nothing but a description given for this type of rings, and it is called as a chelate ring. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, ma'am.
So this structure, you can just practice it. You just write with different donor atoms how they are linked with the central metal ion. Okay. So shall we proceed? Copy. Shall I show you the reactions now? If you are done with this. Copied, girls, or still doing it?
Still doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If it is over, let me know.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, now, like suppose when we are trying to estimate the amount of hardness, okay, that is nothing but the sample water. I am writing here, sample water. What does it contain? Sample water contains calcium or magnesium ions. Okay, so wherever I write Ca plus 2 means it's understood here you also have Mg plus 2. The sample water containing either calcium or magnesium ions. To this sample water, you're going to add, like imagine that this is this you have taken in a conical flask. You know what is a conical flask, girls? Have done the practicals in your 10 plus 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the conical flask, which is used for titration. I wish you people would have done the lab in first year. Okay, so this is the sample water. So to this sample water, you're going to add sample water, maybe 20 ml will be taken. To this, you're going to add indicator, that is EBT, Iriochrome black tea. I'll just elaborate here. Okay, this is the indicator. Fine. Then we are going to add a buffer solution. Buffer. So, which is that buffer solution? What is its pH? The pH of this buffer solution is 9 to 10. Okay, this is the pH range. And example for the buffer would be ammonium chloride plus ammonium hydroxide. So this is a weak base, and the salt from strong acid, weak base is this is the combination of the buffer. So this would be asked as a reasoning question. What is the buffer used and what is the pH required for this? So the moment you add EBT and buffer solution to your water sample containing calcium and magnesium ions, then you have a reaction like this. I'm just using another page. Shall I proceed, girls? Shall I go to the next page? I noted down all these things.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, calcium 2 plus ion will form, okay, let me write like this, EBT, buffer solution, this forms a complex, calcium EBT complex. And the color of this solution is wine red. Okay, then this solution will be titrated with EDTA. That is the next step. This solution will be titrated with EDTA. What is EDTA? EDTA is nothing but a titrant. I'll just draw here. Can somebody guess what is this? Yeah, these are the markings. Okay, so here the capacity of this will be 50 ml. What is this?
Burette, ma'am.
Exactly. Very good. So this is your burette. So burette must be filled with the EDTA solution. So what you'll do now, you'll just take that conical flask and titrate with this burette solution. Okay. So I think titration, you know how to do it. So this is your conical flask. What does it contain? The conical flask contains the wine red solution, right? And how you are getting the wine red solution? How you are getting wine red solution? By adding EBT and buffer to your sample water, you get a wine red solution, and that wine red solution will be now titrated with the EDTA. And this titration will be continued till you get a blue color. So what is the end point here? Blue color. So this is the end point. So you are going to continue the titration till you observe blue color. And the blue color, this is the complex what you are getting in the end. So the EBT molecules will be replaced by EDTA. Okay. So therefore, all the molecules of EBT, once completely replaced by EDTA, you get a blue color. And what is that blue color due to? The blue color is due to the presence of the free indicator. When will the indicator become free? Only when all the molecules of EBT in this complex are replaced by EDTA, and that gives you a free indicator which actually imparts blue color. And what is the color of this solution? So this is the blue color at the end point. And calcium EDTA is what? Calcium EDTA is colorless. Calcium EDTA is colorless. So the blue color is due to the presence of free indicator but not due to the presence of calcium EDTA complex, because the color of this complex is like it doesn't have any color, so it is colorless. The blue color is only because of free indicator. These are the frequently asked questions, girls. So you are going to titrate till you get a blue color. Okay. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Following, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, everybody is so calm and quiet. So just I want to know. So these reactions are very, very important, and this is expected essay type for 10 marks or for 12 marks. The entire question can be asked, girls. So while you're proceeding, so before actually the steps, how it is done in the lab, you just have to give the principle of this. So this is nothing but the principle of your experiment. So you should start your explanation with the EDTA structure, okay, then how it is acting as a chelating ligand, and then these equations. And only of drawing these diagrams, this is only for your reference because you people have not done anything in the laboratory. I thought it is easy for you to imagine them, okay. I'll do one thing. I'll just share a video also how EDT experiment is done in the lab so that you'll get some idea, because this is important both practically and theoretically. Okay. So now shall we start our experiment then? How many steps are there? What is to be done in each step?
Yes, ma'am.
So, any doubts still here? Any doubts still here?
No, ma'am.
No? Huh? Okay. So this is the principle what you have to explain in the beginning of the answer. Okay. Then we'll have the estimation procedure. Okay. So I'll just put the heading as estimation of hardness of water. By EDTA method. So 4 steps are there. First step, step 1, preparation of standard hard water. Preparation of standard hard water. Second is standardization of EDTA solution. Then third step is estimation of total hardness. And step 4 is estimation of permanent hardness. Are you taking down, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Step 1, how to prepare a standard hard water. So what you'll do is you'll just take either calcium sulfate or magnesium sulfate. Usually in the laboratory, what's the procedure we follow? I'll just tell you that. The magnesium sulfate will be taken, known weight. You'll be given the weight of the salt, known weight, is dissolved in 100 ml of distilled water. Is dissolved in 100 ml of distilled water. D water I'm writing, so that is nothing but distilled water. So this has to be done in a standard flask. Okay. So therefore it is called as standard solution. Remember, conical flask is something different, standard flask is different, because conical flask used for the titrations and standard flask is for preparing the solution of a particular standard. So the flask will be like this. I don't know whether you have seen this earlier or not. This is a standard flask. So what you'll do is you'll just use a funnel like this. Okay. So first you'll transfer the magnesium sulfate. Okay. Then you add a little quantity of distilled water. Then you try to get a dissolved salt solution. Okay. So if you're adding water at once, okay, if you add water at once, what will happen? The magnesium sulfate salt particles will be left undissolved. So to get a clear solution, just add MgSO4 of known weight, okay, add a little quantity of distilled water and then shake it thoroughly. Once you get a clear solution, then add the remaining amount of distilled water up to the mark, okay. So this mark means 100 ml, okay. Like depending upon the capacity of standard flask, you will be having 50 ml or 100 or 1000 or 250 or 5000. Likewise, you have different capacities of the standard flask. But here, depending upon the amount required, like let us suppose here we are preparing a 100 ml standard solution. What you have to do is you have to You have to dissolve the salt in minimum quantity of distilled water and then add the remaining distilled water up to the mark. Okay, like this you'll get a meniscus, lower meniscus. You have to check for the lower meniscus. Okay, why? Because here this is a colorless solution. MgSO4 is a colorless salt or white crystals. So therefore you have to check for the lower meniscus. In case if you have a colored solution, then you have to check for the upper meniscus. Okay, because in case of colored solutions, you cannot see the lower meniscus. So therefore you have to always look for the presence of upper meniscus. That is actually usually asked important Viva question. So this step 1 we have now prepared with the standard solution. Is it clear, girls? MgSO4 salt taken, dissolved in the distilled water, you get a clear solution, then add remaining water up to the mark and that will be nothing but a standard solution. Can somebody define what is the standard solution? Why the solution is called a standard solution? Yes? Yes, girls. Can you hear me, girls? Yes, ma. Somebody respond.
Yes, ma'am.
What is standard solution? A solution whose concentration is known. A solution whose concentration is known is called as standard solution. Okay, here you can calculate the concentration of the solution what you prepared by using the formula molarity equal to weight by molecular weight into 1000 by the volume of the solution. Volume. Now what is the weight of the salt? What is the weight of the salt? Are you there in the meeting, girls? Yes, Vasilya?
Yes, ma'am.
No, whether you people are listening or not, how will I know? Okay, so here weight refers to what? MgSO4 salt weight, whatever you have taken, divided by its molecular weight into 1000 by volume. What is the volume of solution here? What is the volume of solution here? 100. Because you are preparing a 100 ml standard solution, so therefore substitute accordingly and get the M1. So this is M1. What is M1? M1 is nothing but the molarity of MgSO4 solution. So that's how you prepare a standard hard water. Am I clear, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, other way of preparing this standard hard water would be by just taking calcium carbonate solution. Okay, by taking calcium carbonate solution of known weight and dissolve it in minimum amount of dilute HCl and then add water up to the mark. Okay, that is also other way of preparing a standard hard water solution. Either you can use MgSO4 or you can use calcium carbonate. So calcium carbonate of known weight, but it should be dissolved in a little quantity of dilute HCl because it is not soluble in water thoroughly. And once you add dilute HCl, then it get evaporated, then it evaporates the solution to dryness on a water bath. Okay, then dissolve the residue in the distilled water to make 1 liter solution. And this is nothing but each ml of this solution will now contain 1 mg of calcium carbonate equivalent hardness. So either you can prepare in this manner or you can prepare as I told you earlier. Okay, fine. Now we'll go for the second step, standardization of EDTA. So I'm moving to the next page. So how to standardize EDTA? Why actually the standardization procedure is required? EDTA is a secondary standard. What is EDTA? EDTA is a secondary standard. If I have to tell you what is a secondary standard, then you should also know something about the primary standard. Okay, there are two types of standard solutions or standard substances. One is called as the primary, the other one is called as secondary standard substance. Now, what is the difference between the primary and secondary standard substance? Primary standard substance is usually crystalline, readily soluble in water, and it is stable. So these 3 points you have to look in when you are talking about the primary standard substance. Primary standard substance. Okay. So these are the 3 points. In case if any of these characteristics are not satisfied by a substance, then that substance would be termed as a secondary standard substance. Now if I say EDTA, why it is called as a secondary standard? Because it is not readily soluble in water and it is not stable. So therefore, you take this EDTA as a secondary standard. And how about MgSO4? MgSO4 is a primary standard where we have actually directly prepared a standard solution of this and we have calculated the molarity. But that kind of procedure cannot be used for EDTA because EDTA is secondary standard. So therefore this must be standardized. So what is the standardization procedure? So here in the burette, you're going to fill with the EDTA solution. So here EDTA solution must be taken. And what has to be taken in the conical flask? Your sample water. Then what else? Buffer, EBT. So this will be your wine red solution. So when you titrate with EDTA, what is the end point here? This already I told you. What is the end point here? How long you are going to titrate till you get the end point, right? How do you define end point? End point indicates the completion of reaction. So what is the end point here? How do you know whether the reaction is completed or not? By change in the color. What is the change in the color here? From white red it turns to
Blue.
Blue.
So you are going to titrate till you get a blue color solution. And what is that blue color due to?
Free indicator, ma'am.
Very good, excellent. So here you can, M1 is for what? Whose concentration is considered as M1?
Molarity of MgSO4, ma'am.
Very good. Molarity of MgSO4 is M1. So you have formula M1 V1 by N1 equal to M2 V2 by N2. Now all these M1 V1 N1 are for MgSO4 and M2 V2 N2 all these are for EDTA. Okay. Now M1, how do you know? How will I know M1? This I can directly substitute or not? Directly I can substitute this from first step, right? Where I have calculated the concentration of MgSO4, what I have used. Then V1 is what? V1 is the volume of MgSO4. So how much volume of MgSO4 is used here? Here I am telling sample water. This suppose if it is 20 ml or it can be 10 ml. Any amount, whatever we are using for the titration, that must be substituted here. And N1 is the number of moles of the MgSO4. Now here coming to the right side, you have M2, V2, N2. M2 is what? M2 is the molarity of EDTA. Do you know the molarity of EDTA? Do you know the molarity of EDTA? We don't know. We are going to calculate now. Okay. And V2 is what? V2 is volume of EDTA. So how will I know volume of EDTA? How will I know volume of EDTA? This value I can know it from the burette reading. So this is from burette reading. From the burette reading, I can know the volume of EDTA. That is what you are going to substitute here. And N2 is the number of moles of EDTA. So here remember N1 is 1, N2 is 1. So finally your equation is M1 V1 equal to M2 V2. So what do we need to calculate now? We want to find out the concentration of the EDTA, that is M2. So if I want M2, what formula changes as M1 V1 by V2. In case if you want to substitute N2 also, no problem. N1 here. M1 V1 by N1. This is by M2 equal to M1 V1 by V2 into N2. Anyhow, N2 equal to 1, N1 is also equal to 1. So you're left over with M1 V1 by V2. So this is the formula to calculate the molarity of standardized EDTA. So this is M2 is nothing but the molarity of EDTA solution. So we don't know here. So we are going to calculate this molarity of EDTA by using the standard solution whose concentration is known to you. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we'll go for the third step, step 3. What is the step 3? Estimation of total hardness. Okay. So for total hardness, again draw a burette. So all the time in the burette, what do you have to take?
EDTA, ma'am.
EDTA. Okay, EDTA must be always be filled in the burette, and the solution in the conical flask will differ. What has to be taken in the conical flask for total hardness? Sample water. Sample water means it can be a borewell water. Okay, any water sample whose hardness you are trying to estimate. Okay, so this is it can be a borewell water. That is the source. I'm writing the source. Sample water means directly from tap or from tap water. We won't usually find out the estimation of hardness because tap water is already purified and it is free from all kinds of hardness causing salts. Okay, it will be purified. But whereas borewell water, it cannot be purified. So I have written sample water as borewell water. Okay, so here you might be taking a required amount. Okay, it might be 40 ml. In the laboratory, we use 40 ml for the third step. Okay, so in the similar guidelines, we'll just write here as 40 ml. Okay, plus pH 10 buffer. So pH 10 buffer. Then what else we add? We add EVT indicator. What's the color change here?
Blue.
Blue, ma'am.
I'm not asking after titration, I'm asking before titration.
Wine red, ma'am.
Wine red, good. Okay, so whatever might be the sample water containing, okay, whether it is a borewell water or whether the hard water, what you prepared, but still what does it contain? They contain either calcium or magnesium ions. So when they have calcium and magnesium ions, definitely they form a complex with the indicator, right? Indicator. Then it will be titrated with EDTA to get a blue color. So always remember that you get a wine red in your conical flask. When you titrate with EDTA, you get a blue color. Okay. So this you have to titrate till you get a blue color. So here this entire solution is wine red. Fine. So how to calculate the molarity of this hard water? So here we have equation M3, B3 by N3, M4, sorry, M2, B2 by N2. So we want to find out what? The molarity of the hard water or the sample water. What is V3? V3 here it is taken as 40 ml and N3 remains 1 and M2 is what we have already obtained from step 2. V2 is what? Burette reading. N2 is what? Again equal to 1. Okay. So substituting all these things, can I get M3 value? Can I get M3 value? Yes. Okay. Once M3 value is known, so M3 equal to, I'll just give the final equation M2 V2 by N2 into N3 by V3. So this is the final equation to calculate M3. Now once M3 is known, multiply this M3 into 10 power 5. Okay, you get the value of the hardness in ppm. Okay. Okay, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next is last step. What hardness you are calculating in the third step?
Total hardness, ma'am.
Very good. Total hardness we are calculating. Okay. Now what is the last step? We are left over with the step 4. What is that last step? Estimation of permanent hardness, right? So once again, I'm drawing a burette. What has to be taken in the burette? What has to be taken in the burette, ma?
EDTA, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
EDTA, yeah, good. And what is the conical flask contain now? So the conical flask contains the water sample, which is actually boiled. I'm just writing here. Which water sample I'm talking about? Whose hardness we are estimating? That water sample around 100 ml must be taken in a beaker and put this on a tripod stand and allow this solution to boil. Okay, so allow the solution to boil for almost half an hour. What will happen? Okay, for half an hour. What will happen when you boil the water? Like this water contains all salts in it. So what will happen? Yes, girls. What does this water sample contain? This is a borewell water sample, right? It contains salts. Emma, following or not?
Yes, ma'am.
So this contains salts in it. Okay. So it contains salts like MgCl2, bicarbonates of calcium, magnesium. Okay, so that means this contains both temporary hardness causing salts and permanent hardness causing salts. So when you boil, what will happen? Which type of salts will be precipitated? So when you boil, temporary hardness causing salt. This is what we have learned in the yesterday's class, no girls. Temporary hardness causing salts like magnesium bicarbonate, calcium bicarbonate, those will be converted into hydroxides and carbonates and left over in the form of precipitates in the water, right? So temporary hardness causing salts, okay, will be precipitated. Will be precipitated. Okay. Then you are going to filter this water. Filter the water because the temporary hardness causing salts will be precipitated. Then you have to going to filter the water, and that will be your water sample. Understood, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
This sample water will be taken in here. Okay, so I'll just write here sample water 1. Don't get confused here. So that is what is taken in the conical flask. And as usual, you are going to add what? Indicator. This is sample water 1. We're going to add indicator, that is EBD. Then you are going to add pH 10 buffer. Okay, so you add all of them, and what is the resulting solution? What is its color now? Wine red. Okay, the color of the solution will be wine red because here again you have the magnesium calcium ions present in them. Those will form a complex with ABTA in the buffer, presence of buffer, and you get a wine red. Now this must be titrated with the EDTA. Okay, so till what? Till which color you titrate?
Blue color, ma'am.
Blue color. End point is blue color. So till you get the blue color, you calculate, you titrate. Then calculation part M4 V4 by N4 equal to M2 V2 by N2. Okay. So I want M4. So what I'll do, I'll just take all other quantities to the other side. M2 V2 by N2 into N4 by V4. Okay. So this substitution will give you M4 and then multiply M4 with 10 power 5 to get the some value in ppm. And what is this hardness? This is nothing but the permanent hardness. Permanent hardness. Okay. Now, after getting the permanent hardness and now that you know from the previous slide total hardness, how can I calculate the temporary hardness?
Total minus permanent, ma'am.
Yeah, good. Total minus permanent. So this is how you do the experiment, girls. Understood the procedure? So in Wednesday's class, I'll just ask you randomly some questions. Okay, be prepared for that. Okay, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts still here?